Ask Reddit, what strange thing have you witnessed, experienced that you cannot explain? Have you ever been to a county fair? Have you ever seen the trashy trailer park looking dudes with the bombshell girlfriends? That. I can't explain that. I see at least like 3 every time I go to one. What choice do they have? He's their only brother. I was driving home one night, a little under a year ago, and the sky turned completely white for about 8 seconds. Mind you, it was completely clear, no clouds or any kind of moisture in the atmosphere or anything. And it wasn't just one spot either, it was the same, uniform stark white everywhere from every direction up to the horizon. But besides the sky, nothing else had changed. Everything else on the ground was the same exact shade, coloring and shadowing as it had before. It was as if someone had inverted the colors of the sky and only the sky. Then it just changed back. It didn't dim or fade, it just switched to black. Still fucks me up and actually made me go see a neurologist. He said everything was fine. No signs of a stroke or aneurysm or anything. I once went to Panera with some friends. We got our food and sat down at the table. About halfway through the meal, my friend says, "Did any of you guys notice that pole before?" I look next to the table and there is a huge floor to ceiling black pole literally almost touching me. I swear it was not there when we sat down, and at this point I'm freaking out and saying we're in an alternate universe. I get the attention of a woman who works at the Panera and ask her if she's noticed the pole before, and she looks at it genuinely baffled and says she hasn't. Went back a few weeks later and I swear to God it wasn't there. Still one of the most bizarre things that's ever happened to me. For at least 15 years now, I will occasionally, maybe 2 or 3 times a month, mistakenly think I see someone I know when walking around. Then, within the next few minutes I will actually see that person. It's frequent enough that I call it now. I'll be like, "Is that John?" "No, not John. But I bet I'll see him in the next 10 minutes. And then I do. I don't read into it at all. It's just an odd little quirk in my life. Recognizing me as someone else. They all think that they know me from somewhere. Happens in every country I lived in. Several times a year without fail. Whenever I ask them about it, I get a variation on "I feel like I know you from somewhere." It's odd. The weirdest one yet was I was at a book signing for a Buddhist monk turned author, who when I stepped up for my turn frowned at me, looked a little confused and said hello again. 7-year-old, my biggest concern was all the air getting out and my crew suffocating before they went to battle, so I'd quickly pull them apart and put new bricks in where the old ones were. But now that I think about it, that always stuck with me as odd. Me and my dad both witnessed a white figure fly across our backyard in 1999. It didn't have arms or legs or a face. It was basically like a sheet and it flew across the yard at superhuman speed. When we saw it, we both looked at each other and tried to make sense of it. We still talk about it today. I don't believe in ghosts, but I can't explain what this was. Looked like a ghost if you believe in that. On a boat, trolling for yellowtail amidst a school of dolphin about 4 miles off San Diego. Dolphin are too smart to take lures, aren't shy near small boats, and feed on the same bait schools as yellowtail and tuna, so it's strategic to follow them. As if cued, all 75 dolphins simultaneously stopped jumping and disappeared into the depths for about 30 seconds. Immediate, unnerving quiet. With great fanfare, they all suddenly burst out of the water in a near-perfect row about a football field wide, and for a while, synchronized jumps ahead of our boat. Then they were gone, showing off for my dad and I. Normal behavior? Who knows? But it was awesome. This is actually the weirdest thing. And call me crazy if you'd like. I went to a fair one time. For some reason my friends weren't with me, can't recall why. I noticed there were surprisingly few people there, and an abnormal amount of clowns. Didn't think anything of it. Got on some ride. Got one of those spiral cut potatoes. Took off after. Went home, went to sleep. Next morning my friend calls me and says where I was last night because my group of friends had a hangout and no one could get a hold of me, nor did I reply. Told them I went to the fair. He asked what fair. Then I couldn't remember where it was. I just said the fair in town. He just laughed and said something to the extent of "yeah, whatever." Still have no idea where I went that night. When I was about 10 years old, we lived at my grandparents' house for about a year. My grandpa uses hearing aids and usually has the TV volume really loud, and his favorite things to watch are westerns. One night I woke up because he was watching TV too loud. I remember hearing glasses clanking, people chatting and faint music. So at the time I pictured it to be saloon in a western film. So I starting heading downstairs to ask him to turn it down. I get downstairs, cross the family room and kitchen and headed down the short hallway that led to the TV room. Right when I entered the TV room, the noises all fell silent. I was really tired and confused. I quickly went upstairs to my room and woke up my sister, but she just brushed it off and told me to let her sleep. When I think about it now, it creeps me out, but at the time I was just tired and confused. Some old lady at the mall asked if I was Drake from Drake and Josh. I said no and went to a Cracker Barrel across town later that night. She walked in and made awkward eye contact with me throughout my meal. I once had this dream. I woke up, did my normal stuff, then walked into the bathroom. I knew that something was off and that this was a dream, but I followed through. I look in the bathroom mirror, and the most terrifying thing is in my reflection. I scream, and wake up. It is now dark outside. I go to my bathroom to wake up and splash some water on my face. Hesitantly look in the mirror. Same thing happens. I wake up again, refusing to look in my mirror. It felt like hours. I waited for the dream to end. I eventually went into the bathroom, looked in the mirror. Same terrifying reflection. I wake up again, walk past bathroom, go talk to mother. Everything in my house was fucked. It was all very dark. She's standing alone in kitchen. I am terrified. None of this feels like a dream at all. I wake up, do my normal thing, don't look in mirror, go to school. Everything is normal. I go to bed, wake up. I finally actually wake up. I dreamt an entire school day. I ask everyone about if any of the shit I remember happening actually happened. It didn't. I still am waiting to look in the mirror and wake up in my bed again just to repeat the hell that experience was. When I was around 10, I had just gotten home after playing outside all day. I lay down next to our wall heater and take my windbreaker off. As I lay there, I was playing with the arm opening, just stretching it open and close. In the middle of doing it, I swear to God, the jacket just quickly slid towards the wall as if someone threw it. I immediately got up and slept in between my mom and dad. Still get goosebumps and still can't explain it. My ex-boyfriend and I were in Idaho vacationing with his parents and grandparents on a lake lot that they rent every summer. We were sleeping in bed and I woke up freaking out because I saw an old lady wearing what appeared to be a blue nightgown. When I quickly went to put my glasses on, the figure disappeared. The next morning, keep in mind our first interaction with the family was at this point. His grandma asked, was anyone in my room last night who has a blue nightgown? Let's just say I didn't sleep in that room for the remainder of the trip. Like other people, I occasionally have very prophetic dreams. They always are about something tragic, but I'll describe my most vivid one. About 5 years ago, I had a dream I was in a horrible 3-car accident with my then GF and my younger brother. The car was totaled. There was smoke. My GF and my brother went to the hospital and I died because I was pierced through the head with some sort of rod. Fast forward 2 years later, and my brother and I get a ride from girlfriend to go to a graduation party for a mutual friend. GF pulls out into an intersection. I immediately recognize everything from the dream and I flinch to the left. Everything goes black for me for a few seconds after that. But when I regain consciousness, I look around and see the exact same scene as in my dream, except I lived. The car we were in was totaled. There was smoke from the other 2 cars involved and a rod that went through the windshield about 6 inches to the right of my head. It was the most intense moment of my life. Since then, I have always kept track of my dreams and paid very close attention to them. One time, as I was driving home from work, I turned onto the street where I live on and noticed what seemed to be more street lights than I remember being there. I didn't think much of it at all at first, but something in me made me do a double take. I noticed that the 3 additional street lights are not street lights at all, but lights lined up perfectly in the sky in the distance. Literally, as soon as I noticed this, the lights in the sky beginning moving slowly and getting closer together. Eventually, they were close enough and formed a triangle. Mind you, at this point I have managed to park my car in my driveway and I'm standing there staring at them. My parents, who are fairly religious, tend not to believe in aliens, UFOs or anything of the sort, so I decided to run inside and get them so they can see this for themselves. We go back outside. The lights are still hovering, moving slowing in a triangle. No sound is being made by them. They do this for a few more seconds and all of a sudden, one of them speeds off super quickly. When I say quick, I mean quick. The remaining two continue moving slowly in the sky for a few more seconds, then they literally just vanish. Poof. The lights were just gone. I'm not saying it was aliens, but yeah, those really were unidentified flying objects. To this day, we have no idea what they might possibly be. I had a dream when I was a teenager. We lived on the hillside overlooking the city. I was standing on our terrace just watching the world die. Water covered most of the city. What wasn't drowned was burning. Pillars of smoke covered the horizon. But oddly enough it was serene. You couldn't hear screaming or chos. Just tinders snapping like a campfire along the shore. It smelled like the sea too. Then I looked to my right, and there was my dad. To his right was my paternal grandmother. They both just smiled a sad smile which made me realize that I couldn't move. We were stuck standing in mud. I woke up after that. After breakfast, I didn't say anything until my dad and I were the only ones left at the table. I asked him if he had a dream last night. He described the exact same thing and he said he saw me too. Later on that day, my dad, who had checked in with my grandmother, said that she had the exact same dream.